Hello, good day and welcome. My name is Manoel Chaves and this is Mad Mix Tea Party. And today I'm joined by my friend, music legend, singer-songwriter, artist, beekeeper, many more, Trevor John. Trevor, welcome.
Cheers, Michael.
Now, Trevor, want to start off the first question. Not question, really. We're here today in Brighton at the music studio, and we've spent the morning, you've spent the morning, I've spent the morning listening. You've spent the morning recording your new single.
Yeah.
Tell us what it's called.
It's called, well, I didn't really have a name for it, but it's about Keir Starmer, so it's kind of been called Keir Starmer, I think.
And Keir Starmer protected Jimmy Savile. Keir Starmer protected Jimmy Savile. He did what he was told to do back then, and that's how he got in number 10.
It's a song about his misdemeanors, or one in particular. There's many misdemeanors from old Keir Starmer, you know, apart from prosecuting Julian Assange and hushing up what happened with John Charles de Menezes.
Yes.
But yeah, he also protected a certain gentleman named James Savile when he was DPP, the public prosecutor, and stopped him getting prosecuted. So I reckon that's probably why he ended up as Prime Minister, because he did what he was told back then.
You know what? It's funny you should mention that, Trevor, because that wouldn't be the first time, would it? When we look at someone who became Prime Minister for shutting down a P-ring, as we'll call it, the Westminster P-ring was being investigated, and they put one Theresa May in charge. And then she was in charge of it for just a few months, and the whole thing got shut down.
Yeah, didn't go very far, did it?
No, but she certainly did.
Yeah.
She became Prime Minister, and now it looks like it's history repeating itself.
Yeah, it seems to be a pattern.
But what we found with this one, though, on a more serious note, is Sir Keir Starmer is certainly the most popular Prime Minister this country's ever had. What are you laughing at?
Keir Starmer.
He's made some friends, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's obviously a man of extreme integrity. You know, getting his wife bought underwear by some entrepreneur. What was his name? I can't even remember his name.
No, nor can I. But
yeah,
it's all very dodgy, and he's not the only dodgy person you've sung about. Because I remember, actually, I mean, the video for your previous single.
Yeah.
Who's that about? Tell us who's that about.
Well, the last one was about old sausage fingers, wasn't it? Yeah, not a big friend of mine.
He's not my king. He's not my king. Well, I don't know about you, but hanging out with pedophiles ain't my thing. It ain't my thing. And he's not my king.
But someone else appeared in that song as well.
Well, in the video, do you mean? Oh, well,
no, in the song.
Oh, in the song. Yes, well, a certain James Savile.
Certain James Savile.
He gets about, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
Yeah.
He certainly does. Talk about mixing with world leaders.
Well, you wonder how he became so popular. What is it about him that was so attractive to all these people?
One of the lines in that song, I love it, and it closes on it.
Yeah.
Will Jimmy fix it for you?
You meet your maker on Judgment Day. Will Jimmy fix it for you?
When Charles meets his maker.
Yeah, I mean,
Jimmy
that's
fix
absolutely brilliant. All of your music is brilliant. Since, obviously, 2020, there's been a certain theme running through your music.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny. Not that it's a serious matter, but the way you put your music across, the way you perform it, it's so funny that, like, from an audience point of view, we sit there like that and you're like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
We was at last week. You were supporting the Blockheads.
Yeah.
And and you opened with Keir Starmer,
Keir
I
Starmer,
believe.
yeah.
And the Blockheads fans are predominantly white middle-aged men, you know, over 50, 60-year-old men who have dragged their wives along. They're not really into the Blockheads. They don't really know too much about it. So these blokes have dragged their wives along. And while you was on stage, I was watching the audience, and the reaction was incredible. Like the Blockheads fans were loving what you was doing.
Yeah.
But I was watching this one guy, and it was like you had just punched his mother in the face or something. He was like, and every time, and then you went on to sing.
I feel really bad about that.
Well, I thought that we should go and at least offer him his money back.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're bound to get at least one bulldog chewing a wasp.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. He probably was wearing Union Jack underpants, you know, so he can be forgiven. But the bulk of the crowd were loving what you was doing.
Yeah, they seem to be into it.
Yeah, it was so good, and that style of music and the way you put your message over within the music using humour.
Well, that's what I do. You know, I can't remember who it is. Was it Frank Zappa that talked about, or maybe Tom Waits talking about saying terrible things with beautiful melodies?
Excellent.
But I do it more. Yeah, I like to do it with humour. So I'm saying very serious things. They're all serious things.
Yeah.
But I started off. A lot of my tunes started off on the marches in 2020, 2021. So I just went there. I don't like protesting really. I like just going along and raising the vibe and having a good time with people, meeting my tribe, which was what that was about for me.
And
but
for me.
Also, what I did was came up with silly chants that I was doing and just making people laugh. And then a lot of the songs grew out of that. You know, got one called Not Just Following Orders.
Yeah.
Another one, I changed the words of That's a More to That's a Moron.
Also a brilliant song. I mean, guys, if you haven't listened to Trevor John's work, you've really got to hear some of it. It's incredible. Have you always been a songwriter, a singer-songwriter?
Well, I've always played the guitar. I didn't think I could sing particularly. But then, there came a point where I wanted to sing. And there's been a lot of really weird synchronicities, not least 2020, that got me going in this direction. But, I decided I wanted to start singing. And then I looked up on the internet for a singing teacher. And I found this woman who seemed absolutely ideal. I didn't know where she was. Turned out she was 10 minutes away from where my studio was. So, so I went and had singing lessons from her. So she kind of cattle prodded me into doing classical stuff and all sorts of things. Yeah, so she got me going. But I've always played guitar. And in fact, like 2008, I did an EP. There was a song about being lied to. There was a song about nothing making sense. There was a song about looking for meaning. And there was a song about everything's contradictory. So I must have kind of been channeling the idea that things weren't right. So, but without even realizing at the time. But then 2020 happened and I just thought, right, that's why I don't fit in this world.
Would you consider yourself, like I do, I take the title and I run with it, a conspiracy theorist?
Well, I consider myself a conspiracy realist.
And how long have you been a conspiracy realist?
Well, I was looking at things a long way back. You know, I was looking at 9/11, obviously. That was a big one. And then 7/7, JFK, obviously, that was another big one. I was interested in David Icke. I wasn't one of those people that just sort of threw him out. I was interested in what he was saying because I've always felt that there was some kind of spiritual side of life or something else going on, but wasn't sure what it was, and it certainly didn't fit with any organised religion. I never kind of resonated with that, but I always thought there was something other than what we see. So, and I was always looking for truth in things. 9/11. I was playing with a sort of collective of musicians before the COVIDs, which was called Protective Fences. And they were doing songs about false flags. They were doing songs about Greta Thunberg. they were covering all that stuff.
Excellent.
So, and looking at Egypt and being really interested in that, and all sort of ancient wisdom and that kind of thing. So yeah, they've gone off now. They've started a platform called The Void, which I'm kind of their man on the ground for that. So it's like an online database of everything that's gone on in the last 5 years now. 5 years, can you believe it?
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. But well, we have, haven't we? We have been having
We've
fun.
certainly been having fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we first met? I'll tell you when we first met. Me and you first met on Brighton Beach. We had seen each other before, but we hadn't really spoke. And I was on
the Upside Down House.
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. No, it was further back. It was over
right.
by the wall.
Oh, okay.
They set up under the wall, by the wall there. And me and Lorraine came up, and we were doing Clever Trevor.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, I say, who the F is Trevor? And everyone turned around and pointed at you. I'm like, that's Trevor.
Yeah.
Obviously, the song wasn't written about you. It might have been.
But also a massive Blockhead fan. Which
is crazy. Me and you found out only the other day that we've got that in common.
Yeah.
And now here we are, full circle, with like, you're supporting the Blockheads, I'm supporting them at the festival. And here's a crazy thing. Today, Mick Gallagher played keys on your song.
Yeah.
But he's not the first Blockhead to play on your music,
No,
is he?
that's true. Yeah, because that EP I was telling you about back in 2008, Dylan Howe played, who was the Blockheads drummer at the time. And I think he spanned the time when Ian was there, and then after Ian died.
Right.
Yeah, he was their drummer. He's an outrageous drummer. That guy, I was so lucky for that EP because I had him and a guy called Dominic Glover, who was the flugelhorn player for the Groove Armada. And he was also, like, these two guys made me very humble.
Wow.
Yeah, but Dylan Howe is an outrageous drummer.
It is bizarre because when you think of the music that we grew up with, it's so very different to modern music, and I struggle very much with modern music. I'm stuck in the past.
Yeah.
Your music, well, the music, not just yours, but a lot of the music that's come out of the movement since 2020 is way more palatable for me than what would be modern pop music.
Well,
Are you finding it the same?
Yeah, but I've got quite old references for my music.
Right.
I've listened to the Beatles. I love Tom Waits. I like proper songwriters like Paul Simon. But I like going back even to old, like Stephen Foster, who wrote Old Kentucky Home and Kentucky, the Camptown Races and all those songs. Like I love all those old songs, so...
Is it just that we're getting old, Trevor?
Yeah,
is that what the problem is?
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? Because we always used to think, and that's how it was presented to us, that you were just out of touch if you didn't like the kids' music.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of dawned on us that as we've got older, that music is getting and
It is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. With X Factor and Britain's Got No Talent and all this kind of stuff. And since 2020, I've met people like yourself. I've since met the Blockheads, Victorious, Raw Milk. So many people. We do the festivals. You've done all the festivals.
Yeah.
The Hope Festival sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're always now around like-minded people.
Yeah. It's a relief.
Yeah, because do you find that when you go back away from our community into what we call the real world, that you're surrounded by people that are much harder to get on with?
This feels like the real world. That feels like some odd place. But I was just going to say, like, back about old music, just going back to there for a second. I know it's not that we're just getting old because, like, I know a lot of people that teach music and a lot of the kids they're teaching, they go back to their parents and their grandparents' record collections and they're picking music out from that.
Yeah.
So they're not into the Taylor Swifts and all the rest of it. I used to teach guitar in a primary school and I'm very happy I don't have to deal with talking to 9-year-old girls about Taylor Swift anymore. But I mean, my everyday life is with kind of normies, because I'm looking after my old mum, who's 92, and my family are all absolute matrix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've got, like, my sister's a senior lawyer, my cousin's a brain surgeon. So I had a real battle to stop my mum getting medicated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's a brain surgeon,
He's a
and
brain
he's
surgeon.
all medicated up.
He's a brain surgeon. He was talking about the PCR test as if it was the gold standard. I mean, he's a lovely guy, don't get me wrong. He's a sweet guy, but he was giving the advice to all my family about medication, and he was talking about the PCR test as if it was the gold standard. And I said, have you ever heard of Carrie Mullis? Never heard of him.
Wow.
Never heard of him. So he didn't realise that
That's
Carrie
crazy.
Mullis had said it wasn't a...
Your song "It's a Moron"
That's a moron. Yeah.
was written for your family.
Well, that's right.
For a family dinner. I think you were saying that.
Yeah.
That you were sat there.
I was. Well, I was in one of those pubs, where you were supposed to stand up, put a mask on, go for a wee, come back, take it off, and sit down. And yeah, I was asking them what the hell they were all doing. It didn't make any sense.
And they thought that it was perfectly normal to do that, and it was acceptable.
I think they were just following rules. They were just doing what they were told. And the thing is, I've never been one for doing that. But
no, right.
Yeah.
I agree with you to a bit there, but like I was never one for following orders.
yeah,
But surely, when the orders are so ridiculous that you think you're looking around and you're like, aren't they seeing what I'm seeing? It's like the emperor's got no clothes.
yeah, no, 100%.
You know, and people like us are sat there and they're putting their mask on. We passed someone today at the bus stop wearing their mask, and I'm like, well, obviously it's to protect her from acid rain or whatever, because what are you going to catch at a bus stop? But we are surrounded by people like that on a daily basis until we come to somewhere like this and meet with our tribe.
But I think it's almost like a satanic ritual, because they know that people in their heart know it makes no sense, but they're kind of lying to themselves. And if you can get people to lie to themselves, that's a sort of satanic ritual to me.
Yeah. It shows a certain level of control.
Yeah.
Like, I thought at the beginning that the people that fell for it were just very weak-willed, and I was very critical of them. And I'm talking about my family, my loved ones.
Yeah, same.
My daughter graduated from university with a first and went and got jabbed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was like, what on earth?
Yeah.
My boys, scraped through with their GCSEs and they knew straight away.
Did they?
Yeah, not to get involved.
Well, people have an innate sense, but it's almost like the more you've been educated, the more you've been programmed.
Well, this is what I was thinking, Trevor. I think that when you go through university, because you did the libraries with us, did you do some of the libraries?
I was on the outskirts of a couple. I wasn't as involved as you.
No, but I do remember seeing you. Now, when we were there, the enemy, for want of a better word, was Antifa.
Yeah.
They turned up and they was giving us the most amount of grief, but they was all uni students. And like the most intelligent, like the future of the country.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, these people have been so brainwashed.
Yeah. Well, that's the worrying thing, isn't it? I mean, that's why it's great to have Emma on board here with Resistance. Getting more young people in is really important, I think, because most of the uni students, I mean, the ones in my family, lovely people, but they're just all hypnotised.
Going back, when you had the realisation, of 9/11, 7/7, JFK, you knew that the people in power were lying to you.
Yeah.
Did you try and share that information with other people back then?
I did, and I've continually tried to share it since. But I've sort of come to the realisation that, I mean, Mick said an interesting thing. Mick Gallagher said an interesting thing on his chat with you, where he said you can't tell people the truth; that they have to realise it themselves.
Yeah.
All you can do is ask questions and plant seeds. And whenever I've tried to really get people to realise something. I've done nothing but damage. With my own family.
Yeah.
Done nothing but I was absolutely shocked in 2020 because it seemed so obvious to me that there was something entirely nefarious and ridiculous going on. And the more you looked at it, with them not obeying the rules themselves, Dominic Cummings testing his eyesight by driving to a castle. I mean, how ludicrous could it get?
I know, but people swallowed it.
Yeah. Well, they were just hypnotized. I mean, that was a real revelation to me, that people could be so hypnotized. I thought people who were intelligent, even streetwise people who are my friends, got totally taken in by it. And I thought, how come I can see it and they can't? I was just going to say one of the things that really shocked me. We were talking about hypnotism. So when everyone went out and started banging pots and pans outside. And I'm happy to say I never did that, nor did I wear a mask, ever. But when they were outside in my road, I sent a message out to the street. We had a street WhatsApp, and I sent a message out going, it's beginning to look a lot like North Korea to the people out there. And I thought that one of two of them would get it, but no.
They just didn't get it, right over their heads.
Yeah.
See, I think with the Christmas party, you can't invite Granny round and have Christmas with your family, but we all are in the know. We've all got the information from the scientists are all having a party without wearing masks. And I thought, that was a godsend at the time. I thought, that now has to prove to people that they are being lied to. The reason they are not wearing masks and they're having a party is because they know that there is nothing dangerous going to kill them. But they didn't see that. People didn't see that. And they're like, oh no, they were being naughty. No.
It was like Neil Ferguson going off and sort of when we weren't supposed to be having sexual relations with anyone that wasn't in our bubble.
In our bubble, yeah.
Yeah. And he went off and did, apparently.
Well,
and Matt the
cock.
Yeah, Matt the cock, cock.
Yes,
he'd done it too, but the thing is, the way they presented that on the media was that they were just being naughty and not following the rules. The way they didn't present it was it proved that there was nothing to be scared of.
Yeah,
but they didn't present it like that, did they?
No, and people swallowed it, and the frightening thing, Trevor, is, how long will it go on for? Like, how long have people like us gonna have to endure these, I hate using the term sheeple, but these brainwashed lunatics where we can see the world is changing on a daily basis. We're looking at cashless societies, we're looking at 15-minute cities, we're looking at digital IDs. We're looking at transvestites reading to children in schools. We're looking at transgenders in primary schools. And people like me and you, we see it. We get worked up about it. We write songs about it. We scream it from the rooftops as best we can.
Yeah.
And the people that we're surrounded by, they just carry on. I always thought that maybe they're better off than us. Is ignorance bliss?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've had a great time since... Since 2020. I mean, not for me, it's not, because it's been brilliant. I mean, the idea of actually engaging with truth for the first time. I mean, I'm an old bugger, and I spent my whole life feeling like I didn't fit in. And there was something wrong with this realm. So that it's been fantastic to actually be engaging with truth and hearing people do podcasts which are engaging with truth and actually being open to explore. My whole, like I've said millions of times that I woke up on the 1st of January 2020 thinking I was a socialist atheist, right? And I'm so far away from that now. It's been a massive revelation, and it continues to be. I don't like the term awake because I don't think any of us are awake. We're on a journey of awakening, and things amaze me. I've had certain things that have happened, like sort of being aware of synchronicities, things, ridiculous things that have happened that seem bizarre, but I just, it's been a constant sort of journey the last 5 years, and
it's been a blast as well.
It's been a blast. I mean, I've met some great people, you included. I was very happy to have you in my video.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure, and to be here today whilst you was recording your song. You're on my last song. You're playing the ukulele.
Yeah, because Ben, who's producing it, kindly told me 2 days ago that I wasn't playing guitar, I was playing ukulele on my track. So
okay.
Yeah, so I'd only played ukulele ever once before. That was on Remise, when we did Remise.
Yeah.
On the same day we recorded yours. So I only knew 3 chords. I'd never played a ukulele before that. And then I'd not picked one up since then. So I had to do a crash course over the last 2 days on ukulele playing, but it was great. And it turned into a sort of Berlin cabaret kind of jazz tune now.
You and I, we have these weird synchronicities between us.
Yeah.
Like the producer of your last single, Not My King, is Martin Noakes.
Yeah.
He did that with you in his studio, which is the studio that literally I've been in for the last 3 years working on my stuff. How did you find working with Martin?
Oh, I loved it. I love work. I mean, he's going to be recording my album as well. I'm going to do an acoustic album.
Okay.
So Martin's going to do that. But that was another weird synchronicity because I heard that the East Kent lot were doing no, not the East Kent lot, sorry, the Carshalton lot.
Yes.
Were doing a bit of a meeting in a field. And then I was pulled just to ask them if they fancied any music. And so they said, I think I mentioned it to you, and you said someone had pulled out.
That's right, yes.
So I thought, I'll go and give them a bit of music if they fancy it. So I was kind of trundling along thinking I was just going to bring my guitar. And I said to them, have you got a PA or anything? No, they didn't have a PA. So then I had to set my stuff up so I could play in the middle of a field for nothing to a bunch of people. So I had to buy a battery, an inverter, and I spent about 300 quid buying stuff just so I could play to these people in a field.
Wow.
But then what happened was you shared a video of me playing Not My King. Martin Noakes saw it and then asked me if I would go and record in his studio.
Right.
So that was weird because...
on that day, though, me and you did Killer COVID together. We did.
We've done that twice now.
We've done it twice now, in public.
Yeah, well, I think we could do Matt the Cock as well as an acoustic one.
We could probably do a whole acoustic set, couldn't we, really?
Yeah.
We Mad Mix and Trevor John on the road, you know what I mean? Doing the whole set, mix yours and mine together.
Well, it might come to that. You've got to get a band together, mate.
Yes. I am having personnel troubles at the moment, but I think
it'll be all right.
I think today we sorted out our drummer issue.
Yeah.
So that's good. The guy that you put me on to,
he's great.
He's very keen.
Is he?
Yes. Yes. So that's excellent. I'm going to send him over our stuff. So again, I've got to thank you for that.
I know, pleasure.
We should probably draw to a close there, otherwise we could go on all day and night, couldn't we?
Okay, yeah.
Trevor, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Mick.
Guys, thanks for listening. I've been Mad Mix. He's been Trevor John, and it's goodbye from the pair of us.